Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? It is me, your boy Magaso, live and direct, and today we are doing a very awesome interview with one of the tournament organizers and esports founders in St. Lucia. His name is Valdez Franklin, and we have some questions for him, but I think this is going to be a very interesting discussion. So joining me all the way from St. Lucia via Skype, we have no one else but the man himself, Mr. Valdez Franklin. How do you do?
I'm doing wonderful. I hope all you guys are actually enjoying yourselves. It's a really taxing and troublesome time, and I hope this little interview, this little presentation of ours would actually give you a little bit better insight of esports and more or less be entertaining for you guys.
All right, I hope so too. All right, so what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna ask a few questions. My first question is, what do you do as it pertains to esports? Like, explain to me what it is you do.
Doing way too much. Let me just get it off the table. Everybody feels that okay. When you assume the administrative rules of esports, that it's games, it's all fun and games. Actually, I age faster, taking on the pressures and stresses of esports. I'm administrator, coordinator, director. I'm also the president of the National Association, and I'm constantly like a one-man army. I do production as well. As you speak right now, I'm also the marketing manager for Magaso Garage over in St. Lucia. So everything just turns in place, and Magaso is also our sponsor as well for our esports endeavors moving forward into 2022.
All right, that's cool. I wish you all the best in all of that stuff, because it sounds like a lot of work, but I mean, I'm sure that you can actually get the job done. And you
to further expand on what I said, when put into organization coordination, we also part of a larger body. So it's like the different tiers that we go up in the escalator or I would say the hierarchy of esports. We from a national to a regional to an international level.
Okay.
So what we try to do, especially myself as well as the vessel, is that we try to create initiatives, and we try to be the mediators between small firms, governmental agencies, and international bodies to represent the ideals and the well-being of our people as our gamers in our Caribbean nation.
All right, cool. That's very cool. So, my next question: how long have you been a gamer? Yeah, that's one of them questions I have to ask.
How long has you been?
Man, so ever since I understood what a controller did and that it moved the person on the screen, and that's a long time. That's a long time.
It's a long time. I could remember my first was probably Sonic Boom.
Kyle Sonic Boom. It was the easiest one to do because it was just a charge move. That's all it is. All you have to do is hold back, forward, and punch, and that's it. Sonic Boom.
It wasn't about the charge move. I remember I said my first words. So
your first words was Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom is because when I was a kid, probably about as young as I could remember, my mentor is a gamer, he's a national athlete, and he's an all-rounder sportsman. I'm from a really, I would say, established family in terms of patriotism, national responsibility, athletic. So at a young age, when my mom went to work, my mentor, then uncle at the time, was with my aunt. Jerry Charles. I always talk about him. I actually did CXC under his name, and I got an excellent score. Jerry Charles used to bring the guys over to play Street Fighter, and I was back on the Super Nintendo. And
what are some of the challenges you face as a TO in St. Lucia?
I believe honestly is that people lack the foresight, especially when it comes to our financial banks, meaning sponsors and agencies that have the funds to contribute to the development of a very lucrative industry. They don't really understand it. So and obviously the stigma where stigma is attached to gaming where if you are a gamer, if you like games, that you don't amount to anything. I mean, I'm sitting here right now with a professional capacity that spans way beyond any young man who probably went to university for him to dedicate himself to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also speaking with somebody who actually put together this lovely set. And I mean, in a matter of, I would say days, the only reason why we're taking this long to this interview is just because of all the inclement weather, and, and then, personal issues that
Mm-hmm.
arise. So I myself, from the inception, I was met with, these are children, that's what children, being a big adult myself, who watch
Mm-hmm.
anime. Animators are not children, or the contents are
Uh-huh.
mature and made for adults. I had to convince a lot of people along the ways. So it was the sponsors, then it went down from the sponsors to the patrons who actually had like that kind of entitlement to them. So we had to try to eradicate a particular mentality from our own players, our player base. Players who probably won't believe that their community deserve more, or they need to be looked upon better, or they need because, oh, say for instance, a Fortnite, treasure of Fortnite
Mm-hmm.
tournament, and they felt like, you know what, I want to get $10,000, and we had to tell them, hey, we can't give you ten thousand
Mm-hmm.
dollars because as it goes is that we go by admission and how much we've been sponsored. If we do have a large volume of individuals, obviously, just like Big E, Li Joe, and all these tournament organizers who are actually my mentors, and I look up to them, I love them. Shout out to Big E and Li Joe.
Mm-hmm.
You could take that and send that to me to send it to them. We wanted to include pot bonuses where we pay you based on how much in admissions we get from
Mm-hmm.
you. So you get a particular pot. Then now we have to educate our people. And then now we had like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
backlash from the next community. So it's really hard to please people. What I realized that we have to adopt a more professional, more marketable, more commercial structure. And whereas we moved away from just being a youth group, hosting tournaments and trying to build something that isn't there, we went into the framework of our business, an actual business. Next shout out to Greg over in the Florida
Mm-hmm.
MVG, Greg Mondize, or we call him in St. Lucia, Greg
Greg
Mondize.
Mondesi. Okay.
He's yeah. So we had a lot to obstacles to overlook, like I would say jump hurdles, and it was both on our actual community standpoint and our traditional businesses and agencies that actually wanted to get sponsorship to actually pull off these events.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's really good. Man, that sounds like a lot of work. But I am there for all of it. I am not like
Mhm.
I always wondered like all of the things that people who are in this line of work have to go through, and especially seeing that it's a new ish kind of area, especially in
Yeah.
countries like ours that don't even take to trying to
Mhm.
understand that this is something you can make a living off of, or be popularized for,
Yeah.
because we're stuck in the days, and I keep having this argument with a lot of people, that we're stuck in the days where parents still think that, oh well, you can't make no money from playing no video games, or or you can't do anything like that, and I just have to like say, listen, you can do that. Like, we're in a time now where this is actually a thing now. I mean, esports is
Yeah.
now being put on ESPN, or on sports stations. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So this is something you can actually um
And
benefit
it's
from now.
possible. I always tell people you lead by example, and if you want to use me as a point of reference, I definitely would welcome it because, in my capacity, I'm the bona fide organization responsible for the development of esports within St.
Mm-hmm.
Lucia. I'm also the recommended individual for any esports activity by the Ministry of Sports. I'm endorsed by them. I work heavily and closely with
Mm-hmm.
them. We have our national team endorsed by the Ministry of Sports. I'm also attached academically with the St. Lucia Sports Academy. I teach sports technology and esports at the Sports Academy. Right now, I'm actually working on getting our esports lab together. it takes a lot of negotiations, presentations, dedication. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
dedicated. You have to be on your P's and Q's. You have to go with the market trends. You have to follow the lingo. You have to educate yourself within that particular field. I'm happy to see, even within the organizations we attach to, from Bahamas all the way down to Trinidad, like Palmesco, World Esports, and International Esports Federation, we do have the facilitation and the applications that you can get yourself grounded and understand more about the industry we work
Mm-hmm.
with. Um, that on itself would add more validity to your claims. Your voice is a little bit louder, so you put a little bass in your voice.
What are some of the positives and negatives about that you have experienced organizing esports events where you're from? Like
Okay,
we could start with the bad news to get it out of the way.
I'll never start with the
Okay.
good. I don't want to give you good news and make you feel sad
Okay.
after. All right. The negatives were financial
Mm-hmm.
wounds. It left a lot of big wounds in my pocket, especially in my savings, because I want to see something pull off water
Mm-hmm.
each. And then when sponsors don't come through, I mean, that's all of these issues that we have had the sponsors. They promise 10, 16, 20, and then boom, you get five, boom, you get two. Something was
Mm-hmm.
promised, all right? Um, an event was planned. So you find that all of the times it has come from my personal stuff to extrapolate money and pay. Now we establish a federation per se. Bosman Gaming St. Lucia Esports is a
Mm-hmm.
federation, all right? But we don't take member dues. We don't. There's no reason for me to take member dues, and the reason why I'm saying this is because I have to be able to tell you what I can do for
Mm-hmm.
you. I can't take money from you just for you to go and play a
Mm-hmm.
game. At least Sony PlayStation, PSN, they give you a free game every 2 months, a free game every month. If it's two games or
Mm-hmm.
whatnot from your subscription, they allow you to play
Yeah.
online. Now, the only thing I can do right now is to restrict you from participating in federation sanctioned events. So it has been a good and bad thing. That, like I said, it's more or less is me taking from my money to finance, purchase equipment, do flyers, pay for pots when the finances are not there. It is literally being invested by myself, and I actually have two other investors who actually came to the when I decided to turn into a federation. They came on board. They became angel investors. I love them dearly. They actually part of the directors on the board. They come up with witty, intelligent ways for us to generate revenue. Partly because of them, we managed to travel with a 14-man team. We did about 2 or 3 years traveling for about a 14-man team. And like I said, the profits was not there, but the ability to do so was. And I really appreciate them coming into Centerfold to assist. Being that we are a small sector, the monies are spent on things that basically like carnival and bacchanal. See,
Mm-hmm.
when somebody wanna mind their waist or take pictures to look nice, go buy a $500 suit just for them to stand up in a party,
Mm-hmm.
you find a lot of fun go into that. Now, that is all well and good. I have no problem with that. All I'm saying is that when you think of development, that's the good and the bad. I'm talking about the bad now. You find that you doing something that's a positive vessel that can encourage a form of employment for gamers or unemployed. Not saying that they're uneducated. I'm not going to mention that they're
Mm-hmm.
uneducated, but they have a particular level of skill and where you can funnel that money positively. You find that most of our agencies they don't funnel that money positively. You find they go into the music sector, they pay for dancers, they pay for all kind of things, but then something like this can offer a livelihood across the board to even the dancers that dance in playing game, so even the artists that sing in playing game, you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of it weighs heavy on
Mm-hmm.
you as a tournament organizer. That's one of the bad. Now we move into the good. The good is that I've made some lasting experiences and memories I've met with my icons during my time. I've chilled with big shout out to my boy over in St. Martin. You could clip that as well. He's doing fun. He's breaking waves, and I'm not sure if you know of him, Rolando
Mm-hmm.
Bryson. I'm proud of him every day. I'm proud of him every day. I probably every other day I think of my partner and say, boy, I met that man, and I always say, I feeling bad. I give my partner about 2 stones
Two
already,
stones.
and it's a Lucia. It's a Lucia. A stone is when I tell you I come and I'm not
Okay.
coming. It primarily is because that I worked at the government, so it wasn't easy for me to just get time off and whatnot. But I always say I have to surprise my
Mm-hmm.
brother. I reach St. Martin and check him.
Okay.
I met with Eli Joe. I've always liked Eli Joe. I felt like he was so
Mm-hmm.
rad.
I
He
know
was like,
I've seen him. I've seen him a few times. Like not in person,
yeah,
but I mean like on
and
the
yeah, yeah,
like at some of the tournaments I see online. On like I used to watch him on
of
Twitch.
course. Oh
What is
yeah,
he
yeah. The
doing
man is
now?
a rad.
What is he doing now?
Huh? He went back. I see they did ECT recently. I was watching it and I was like, a blast from the past.
Okay.
It was one of the wake up events that actually make me realize, hey, Valdez, you gotta wake up. You gotta get your tournament
That's good.
back up. Yeah.
Uh,
So we had Big E. I met with Big E. I loved Big E's energy. I love the fact that he believed in me. I love the fact that I'm a small guy from St.
mhm.
Lucia. Well, I big now, but a small. He persuaded me, he pushed me, he tried his best to keep in contact with me. Combo being the next vital individual, and like I said, that was the good and bad. So with esports, it broadened my network. It allowed me to meet with the individuals. I would say the disruptors and the key individuals within the sector for fighting
Mhm.
games, and by extension, other developers and whatnot. And it made me realize it was an eye opener for me that hey, I could meet these individuals and befriend them, have a relationship with them, have conversations with them, and create memories with them. That was one of the pluses for me. This also allowed me to open the doors and open the eyes of my agencies, my governmental agencies, when these guys would come to St. Lucia, check us out, and then they would do us solid and come to my aid by going to meetings with me. Still go and drink and eat after,
Mhm.
but but this gave our governments from a small sector, hey, these guys are attached to a international market, and these guys are here in St. Lucia and Fernie Valdez. Let's pay a little more attention to Valdez and
Mhm.
esports. What can we do to help Valdez and esports? And it actually opened the door for discussion. The good is that I saw a lot of young individuals who had the skill and the talent. They own these skills, they got better at it. They made the name for themselves. We have a Caribbean group where we constantly have banter and chat, and most of these individuals are well known. Some of them I like to mention Ricky J, Terrible, Kronos, his name, he going by the name Virus. We have Smoke
Mhm.
Element, we have Brand One, and a few more. And these individuals made their names within the Caribbean fraternity. That actually warms my
Okay.
soul. The next good thing about it is that it created that inter-island linkage. I mean, it happened with VXG when we first went to VXG. That brotherhood was formed. And I'd like to thank everybody, Pete, everybody back home, Miss Yorkie. I like to call St. Martin my home. And it continued. We made great DR brothers. And fun point, I've also signed up for the UN esports panel
Mhm.
I did recently. One of the crowning achievements I've ever had was witnessing a Caribbean player go over to a championship, a world championship, and win
Oh
it.
yeah, which one was
And
that?
that's Capcom Cup when MENA RD won
Oh
Capcom.
man, yeah.
I,
I saw
I
that.
went
I was
crazy.
watching that live. I was like, what?
Yeah. And all while he was playing every, and I would like to give a big shout out to Mena.
Mena
Mena,
is a beast.
I still working on that ticket for Mena to come in St.
Hmm.
Lucia. All while Mena was participating, I'm messaging Mena.
Hmm.
I'm messaging Mena, tell Mena, we have a thing here in St. Lucia, take light sips, shatter. Starting take light sips. Light sips,
Like,
relax. You beating
uh-huh.
it. Make care. Who is tell me who is Tokido? Who is and he's sending voice notes back. Yes, my brother. Yes, my
Uh-huh.
brother. The Caribbean will win it. I say, oh, but you better win. I know you win it.
Yeah.
You think I win it? Now, bear in mind, Tokido, big shout out if you're watching. I'm sorry. Tokido, Tokido is my Street Fighter
Oh,
player.
he
My
bad. Taquito
my
bad.
favorite Street Fighter player.
I like.
But
Go ahead.
here come and take over Caribbean. Go. You mad the Caribbean. We go tell you Tokido win.
Man,
No, Tokido try next year, man. Not this
what I
year.
like about how Taquito does play is he is analyzed like very quickly what his opponent is doing, and he can like change his play style like on the fly. Not a lot of people can do that. They're still stuck in some of the ways that they play, but that takes experience. Like you have to know what your
Yeah.
options are when you play in a fighting game, as professionally like that. You have to be able to like switch up on the fly because boy, what is there anything you'd like to see change in your country as it pertains to esports? Anything at all?
Well, the change starts with me, and usually anytime you want change or anybody requesting change, we have to start with each
Mm-hmm.
other. Now, what I want to change in
Mm-hmm.
me is my approach right now. I want to be on a more holistic approach rather than come to make them come to
Mm-hmm.
me. I want to go to them rather than wait for other initiatives be installed because I have them. I rather try to get it
Mm-hmm.
done so they can come to me or I could go to
Mm-hmm.
them. So I myself want to make sure that I have all the resources in place for them individuals that actually I have to represent or I represented and don't know I represent them. Um, but in terms of on the whole, it's more better inclusion. I mean, they should really take esports into the conversation, understand the marketing mileage they will get from esports if they fund it right, thus giving us the ability to pay
Mm-hmm.
individuals, thus giving us the ability to purchase higher end equipment, thus giving us the ability to surpass all traditional sports like esports have been doing for the past 5 or so years
Yep.
has skyrocketed to the point where it's surpassing traditional sports. The only thing that's, imagine that, believe it or not, COVID actually affected us.
Mm-hmm.
COVID actually brought us back, not into this more or less a Stone Age period, but we actually at a point where a lot of people don't really participate, and the level of participation and hype is not as potent as it used to be.
Mm,
I mean, human interaction was really
do you
vital.
think
I mean, look at Go,
do you
for
oh
instance,
sorry.
Pokemon Go. So go
No,
ahead,
I
bro.
was asking, do you think that the ability like how Capcom Cup did it, I think it was Capcom Cup, I think it was Capcom Cup. I'm not sure. I think it was something to do with Capcom Fighters, but they did it where the tournaments were online only. So, do
Mhm.
you think that helped in any way at all? Like, was there any ability for you guys to have your tournaments or anything like online only?
The ability to allow tournaments online definitely
Mm-hmm.
existed, but what we found that is that a live event was even for forthcoming was better to do because with a physical location we could have gotten sponsors who wanted to do branding, have their samples being
Mm-hmm.
done. Right now on live stream, there was no definite um, guarantee that the marketing would be as prolific as they wanted or control as they wanted it to, and ensure that it was, well, I would say the brand also had proper representation. So they have done events online before, but it's more tedious than having two consoles right at your fingertips.
Here's another question I'll ask. And this one I think is something more attained to like every other country in the Caribbean, as including
Mhm.
us. How can
Mhm.
we make the Caribbean region stand out and become its own entity? Like how Japan has like their tournaments, Canada Cup has Canada Cup, there's Capcom Cup, there's all these
Ah.
other things. How like what do we have to do to like be to the point where we can actually
Mhm.
have something big enough for other people to want to come here to do tournaments here, to like face off against
Um,
either each other or ourselves or a mixture of the both?
okay, so let me act all strategic and politically correct. Let me get my pen. Let me get
So
book.
getting all the stuff out.
Where's
Oh
my
Lord, there we go.
yeah. I have to. That is the only way for me to solidify my
Mm-hmm.
point, guys. If you want something like that to
Mm-hmm.
happen, the first thing you need to do is understand there are articles that you need to associate yourself
Mm-hmm.
with, right? These articles is formalization
Mm-hmm.
articles. You first and foremost have to be part of a national
Mm-hmm.
federation. First and foremost, that national federation already exists in your country. You need to be part of it. Secondly, your federation has to be part of the Caribbean
Mm-hmm.
Alliance. With the Caribbean Alliance, the Caribbean Esports Federation Alliance, what we do now, we are actually the mediators between you and your governmental
Mm-hmm.
agencies and the Olympic community. With that said, we now lobby on not just the behalf of Bahamas, on behalf of
Mm-hmm.
Trinidad. We now have that portfolio. We have the articles of association. We have a memorandum of understanding. We have all the formalization documents. We have credence. We have validity. We have jurisdiction. We now can say we create a federation, and that federation now creates its own events. We've already done our own events already under CIFA.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it exists. What happens now is that we're basically in discussions. We're supposed to have a next meeting. We have not discussed it yet, but we should have a meeting to discuss a further championship, a next CFA championships. We want that to be a staple championship throughout the community. We in ourselves would want to encourage individuals within our federation to do their own championships. And because of
Mm-hmm.
the articles of association and the memorandum of
Mm-hmm.
understanding, we are obligated to support that
Mm-hmm.
tournament. So what you find is that if we create a championship, which we're planning on doing the second leg of
Mm-hmm.
it, that every island associated with that federation has to participate in that championship.
Mm.
This is how we're going to stand
Okay.
out. Inclusion and unity. Understand the bigger
Mm-hmm.
picture. We not come in and be
Mm-hmm.
binary. We're not being
Mm-hmm.
one. We cannot be one and want to have something as grand as
Mm-hmm.
this. Because we can stand out with a pen. We are just the
Mm-hmm.
pen. We have our network. We are mile high. We are tower
Mm-hmm.
high. Here we have that. But then watch out the scale and magnitude of official
Mm-hmm.
organization. It's the only way we can stand out, and people have to support the
Mm-hmm.
federation.
I think my last question will be like, what genre of games do you do tournament organize? The UTO for, and do you have any favorite ones that you like?
I would like to say, back in the heydays, I did FIFA, I did sports, Federation sports games, I did racing, I did fighting games, I did shooters. But the one that actually stood out with me and was a more impactful tournament was always the fighting
Mm-hmm.
games, because the fighting games had much more
Mm-hmm.
hype, less technology that had to go into it. And by less technology, I mean like literally the hardware and setup. I found like to set up a Call of Duty station, it required way too much. Given the little that we came from, when you see a 14 screens literally diminishes to do anything when you have to set up four Call of Duty stations, four screens each.
Mm-hmm.
So you find like four Call of Duty stations are ready. It's much like 4, 8, 16
Mm-hmm.
systems for. And then you're looking for 14, you're looking at yourself and you're 14. So you have to work all and say, hey, I need four more screens.
uh-huh.
Can you let me? But people like, oh, you match my screen. I want the whole
Yeah.
screen. But the last time. So it's something that I actually excelled in terms of our prolific our development skills and our prolific our coordinating skills. Well, it was much more easier and less
Mm-hmm.
taxing. So my favorite was fighting games, but if I have to pick a genre of titles that I will do for esports, I'll do everything.
Okay.
Even Hearthstone. Even
Do you have
Hearthstone.
any favorite ones? Like what favorite games that you like to on for?
My favorite game would always be Injustice. I
Injustice.
feel Injustice, yeah, was my favorite
Yeah.
game. It had that kind of exhilarating, refreshing vibe to a fighting 3D
Mm-hmm.
game. It's a two-dimensional side fighting game like any Street Fighter game or anime fighting
Mm-hmm.
game, but it had that kind of element where it had that environmental
Mm-hmm.
damage, stage transitions, the blood was Mortal Kombat-ish, the combat wasn't as
Mm-hmm.
gory. The combo and combat system was really robust and it was enjoyable. It wasn't hard, it wasn't tedious at all. Anybody could have pick it up and do it. But then, they had that little level of creativity and a little bit of vibrance. And it was so versatile of a fighter that it drew a lot of us from the FGC into it, and it became even bigger than our Street Fighter tournament. And that was one of my fondest moments. I could actually send you a clip. It's disclaimer. It's a lot of he-salops. I'm not too sure if you know the word
East
he-salop.
Salop?
Um, he-salop.
Okay.
Sorry, might have to bleep that.
I don't know what that means, so I hope I didn't
Um,
just say a St. Lucian cuss word or something.
it's, it's not really a curse word. It means it's
Oh,
nasty.
okay.
Like when something is really nasty, like yeah, oh, like nasty. No, like well, salop means dirty,
uh,
right? In
okay.
French, like a real dirty
Okay.
thing. But when you say salop, like it's really
Mm-hmm.
nasty. Like oh boy, it's
Mm-hmm.
horrible. And one story I like to give is Chris G. Big up to Chris G.
Chris G.
Chris
Chris G.
Chris G was
Man.
over
Chris G did some cool
in Saint
stuff, man.
Martin. Yeah,
In Street
man.
Fighter 4.
So that's my last takeaway for you guys. Chris, you was over in Saint
Mm-hmm.
Martin and he was a tournament. So at the tournament, everybody in the Caribbean knows solution. They love solution, love to drop the word
Mm-hmm.
Isalo. Anytime somebody take a fall or somebody get a brutal combo, Isalo,
Mm-hmm.
a hard slap from nowhere, Isalo. You understand? You're walking on the road, your back just bursts, your foot fall on the ground, you sat up.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
understand? You get a man hit a ball with cricket for 6 runs, he sat up.
I get you. I got you.
So,
I got you.
all right, so I'll send that clip to you. You'll understand. You'll probably understand what he sat up
Okay.
means, how it's
Uh,
used. So Chris G was there every time they will Chris Green that combo with Ant-Man and Arrow and taking licks at Hawkeye in Marvel vs. Capcom
no.
3. He's giving them the then like we like to prolong it like he, he salop. when
That's what's
when the
going on
combo
in
subsides or
in
the
the
combo
hog.
ends, yeah, we prolong it
Oh Lord.
Isalo. And there are a lot of Caribbean islands that love the solution screaming Isalo. I remember a guy running up from the BVI is like, oh my god, man, I miss the Isalo. I said, you miss it, Jetta? Chris, you still taking combos. And I remember the award ceremony. At the award ceremony, Chris G came up to me and was like, yo, Val, everyone keep telling me you're a good guy, but I don't know if that was that what you were saying earlier, it was meant for disrespect. I was like, nah, it's not disrespect. And he was like, seriously, like it wasn't disrespect, yo,
Mm.
Chris. It was literally just it was just a
That was
kicks,
that was
just
just
for
that
fun,
was just us saying that this guy is getting his butt handed to him. That's all it
Yeah, he
was.
was getting bodied. He was getting
That's
bodied.
crazy.
So he went on. He's like, yo, man. Every time I miss my combo and I drop that combo and I end up getting myself in a
Uh,
combo, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna get his salop. I was like, boy,
oh
I'm
man,
sorry, man.
that's
I'm sorry.
funny.
That scarred my
That's
partner.
funny. That's funny.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm gonna get his salop.
Oh, Jesus. I hope Chris G watches this, and I hope he like messages you instantly. You'll be like, "My Lord, why you?"
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm actually. I want to do a reunion. That's what I want to leave that with you
Mm,
guys. Is my last
mm,
statement. I'm actually doing a reunion
mm,
event. Trying to see how I could pull in these guys, and I'm trying to see how I could send special invites to individuals around the
mm,
Caribbean. Due to the social distancing protocols and the new COVID way of
mm,
life, I will not be able to invite everyone, and I can't say it will be cheap,
Mm-hmm.
nor would I say it will be
Mm-hmm.
expensive. I know I'm leaning towards um, I know I'm leaning towards it being
Okay.
affordable. All right. So I'm looking at a particular resort, and once we close that deal with that resort, you'll be bringing on our figureheads, which is always going to be our showrunners will be Li Joe, Big E. Looking to bring back Combo Finn, Chris G. We're looking at either Yipes or K Brad.
Okay.
On the cosplay side, we're looking to bring a few cosplayers down as well. So what we're trying to do is that, hey, we can't utilize whatever, what have you, but we can book that hotel for the weekend. Everybody does all the activities within the
Mm-hmm.
hotel. So you'll be able to meet with your guests and whatnot, meet with your special superstars or whatever at that hotel. So hopefully, I know hotels occupancy is supposed to be at 70%
Mm-hmm.
maximum. I'm going to just find which hotels would be able to facilitate us, how much they will be able to facilitate
Mm-hmm.
us, and we're going to take that into consideration moving forward. But in terms of live online events, I'm still leaning towards just that one
Mm-hmm.
event. Hopefully, we'll do two next year. One will just probably be like a pre-launch event where we bring them down, we have meeting members of parliament, meet with the individuals, we launch the brand hopefully by June, July, and then we'll close it off on November for the actual event. So you might have to
All
RSVP.
right.
I'll give you special Valdez discount.
Okay. Well, I'll see what's going on my end, but I know
Mhm.
some of the people over there will definitely want to try and participate to that, so that'll be good.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
very much for letting
So,
us know, and everyone here will be able to hear who watches this will be able to know about that. So we'll be
for
getting that
sure, for
pushed
sure.
out. But thank you.
So, for sure. We'll have a solution, Chris G there, waiting for
That'll be funny. I can't wait to see that. So thank you so much for having this interview with me. It's been a pleasure, and thanks for taking the time out to explain, especially the part about us what we have to do in order to get like the Caribbean, because on the map. Because yeah, I know the big blue folder. We have to make sure that we can follow that to the letter because we're trying to get ourselves
you.
where we have to be. So my dream is to
Yes.
actually see us on the map. I want to see the Bahamas in the list of everything. So
Hey, tell you, they're there. Don't have
yeah,
fear. You're
yeah,
definitely there.
man.
You're,
But thank you.
you're part of the
Thank you
discussion.
very much. We appreciate that. All right. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap for us in terms of the interview with Valdez Franklin. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Gameheads International, I want to say a big thank you for watching this. This has been me, Magaso, and until next time, peace, love, and hair grease. Y'all take it easy. I am out of here. Y'all be safe.